You remember I'm recording.
Good.
Okay, this is fun. It says express the missing divisor using a power of 10. Explain your reasoning using a place value model. Now, a power of 10 is going to be 10, 100, 1,000, 10,000. You could write it with an exponent. 10 to the second, 10 to the third, 10 to the fourth. Okay? Here's how we're going to show it on a place value chart. So first of all, just draw a line and write 6.9 above it. Okay? Then make your lines on your place value chart. You don't need a lot. Line up your decimal. Are you writing this?
Yes.
I don't want to have to say that again on this video. And then do you see what my answer is going to be? Put that on the second row. So you're just copying right from this problem, aren't you? Okay, now how many place values did my 9 move? Twice. So what power of 10 would have 2 zeros?
100.
Okay, that's all you do.
10 to the
Or 10 to the second power. Now, I can't guarantee you the test is going to be like this. So you have to practice the strategy. Okay? So if you're practicing during math groups, maybe change 6.9 to something else and practice this. Okay? All right, here's the first mistake. Cross off that 0. It's supposed to be 4,870. So draw a line, write 4,870 on there. Get your decimal on.
minus down.
And then let's see how far it moves. So 4 87/100. So I think because the 0 might mess us up, let's look at the 4. How far did the 4 move? 1, 2, 3, right? 3 place values. 1, 2, 3. So we would do it like this, right? Divided by what? A number with 3 zeros. 1,000. Do you see what we're doing? We're showing powers of 10 and how they move across the place value chart. Did these bunny hops mess you up a little bit?
No.
If they did, I'm going to take them off because you can just do it with the arrows like we're used to. Okay? Sometimes I think it's easier just to hop across and count those spaces, but it's up to you. Okay? 1,000 would be what exponent?
10 to the third.
Very good. Okay, on our last test, this was the area that the children struggled with. That was you, right?
No.
We need to get it right this time. I want to be able to change your grade from a yellow to a green, okay? Because most of the grades were a yellow after the last test. On this one, honey, I have 70 students. I can't remember exactly, okay? All right, let's look at the next one. This one's really fun. Okay, it says estimate the quotient. So I know right now I'm going to do what? Good.
Because I saw this little line.
Yep. But we do it going down, so let's get that set up. On the first one, you need 2 equal signs. On the second one, you need 3. Go ahead and get that written down. That's the second time I had to say that. Okay, so when I round and estimate, it helps me to have my lines on there. Because I'm going to round the divisor first. So, Tucker, what will I round that divisor of 28 to?
30.
I agree. Now, my rule is, if I can keep the first 2 numbers, I'm going to keep them. Can I keep the 4 and the 5?
Yes.
45 is divisible by 30. What times 3 is 45? It's bigger than 12.
14.
Are you guessing?
No.
You are guessing.
I am.
It's one of those skip counting numbers that we've practiced over and over and over again.
8.
15.
15! You got it! We have practiced 8s and 6s, but this one's 15. So here's how I'm going to solve this one. 45 divided by 3 equals 15. Okay, so what's my strategy? If I can keep the first two numbers, I'm going to. Okay, I'm going to round this one to the nearest 10. Keep the first two numbers if I can. One way to figure out if 3 would go into 45, the divisibility rules over there for 3 says if I add these two numbers together, so 4 plus 5, and it's divisible by 3, then the whole number is.
Wait, I was close because I said 14.
So what's 4 plus 5?
9.
You were close. So is 9 divisible by 3? Then that means 45 is divisible by 3. If I can add those two digits up, okay? All right, let's go over here. What am I going to round 375 to? I think nearest 100. 400. 400. Okay, now what was that rule that I've established for myself? If I can keep the first two numbers, I'm going to. Is 16 divisible by 4?
Yes.
So I have to change the next two to zeros, of course, because I have to keep it in the thousands place. So, what would you do here to solve this one? Would you start by crossing off zeros? How many?
2.
So then 16 divided by 4. I don't need my last equal sign, do I? Nope. Okay, so that's just estimating and rounding. The hardest part is picking the dividend. Okay? Remember this? Did you put a box around those so that will help you on your test? You're going to tell yourself, okay, I'm going to keep those first two if I can. All right. Here's the next one, and it is so fun. This is my favorite one. Oh, and you're going to get it right. Okay? Yeah, you are. Generate and solve another division problem with the same quotient, the same remainder,
Is that a name?
as the two problems below. What's my quotient? What's my remainder? Write that down. That's all we know. Write that down. Now, there's a rule. Of course, we can't pick 18 or 53.
What?
Because it says different problem. But what's the rule for picking a divisor? Lainey, do you remember?
It has to be bigger than
It has to be larger than the remainder. What's the remainder?
the 15.
15. So my divisor has to be larger than that, but it can't be an 18 or a 53. Pick a number, Kimberly. Has to be larger than 15, but it can't be an 18 or a 53. Quickly. 21. You're going to crack up at this. That's what they picked in the last block. 21. Okay, so remind me how I solve a problem like this. There's your hint. What am I going to have to do?
4 times what equals 21? 4 equals
21 times 4 plus 15, right? Because once I get an answer,
That's 84.
that gives me my dividend. So that's 84. Shh. So what's my dividend? Okay, now here's what I want you to do. I want you to, I better move that 9 over because the 4 is supposed to be above it, isn't it? I want you to highlight how to check a problem. Maybe that will remind you, or just put a box around it or something. But you need to multiply your divisor times your quotient and add your remainder to solve this problem. Now what if you don't trust yourself? Can't you just do it? So what's 21 times 4? 84. What's 9 minus 4? And 9 minus 8. Did it work? Okay. So you're going to pick a number larger I'm just going to say number has to be larger than the remainder. Okay, your number has to be larger than the remainder. What number? The divisor. I know. What movie is that?
I don't know. My cousin always said that.
Okay, let's keep going. Next page. This one's fun too. Actually, they're all fun.
Fun.
Sarah says that 47 divided by 9 equals 32 divided by 6 because both are 5 remainder 2. So here's what we're doing. 5 remainder 2. Don't write the remainder. And 47 divided by 9. Okay, that's the first thing. If you're just now getting ready to start writing, you should go a little faster today. And she said that 32 divided by 6 is 5 remainder 2. Don't write the remainder. Okay? Show her mistake using decimal division.
Do we have to write all that?
So tell me what I'm going to do here, Daniel. There's no yelling at school. I'm teasing. On a Monday? Yes, probably so. Okay. So you have to pay attention so you can get a good grade on your test. Daniel, tell me what we're going to do. Yes? Do I need to go ahead and erase the remainder? Yeah, why, Ureli? Why? What am I going to use to solve these problems here?
An extra 0.
Right, probably add the decimal and the 0 because it says decimal division, okay? So he said multiply 9 times 5. What's that?
45.
We're probably going to get a remainder of 2. We already knew that, didn't we? Now Hayden says get that decimal on there, drop down a 0, okay? And so now what do I have?
9, 20,
18, so 9 times 2. And guess what? I got the same remainder again. So this one's just going to keep going and going and going. It'll be 2's forever. And we'll never be able to solve it. So I'm just going to stop right there. That gives me an idea of what number it is. 5 2/10. Okay? I don't think on your test, I think it's going to divide evenly on your test. Remember, I just picked numbers here. I just picked numbers, so we don't always know how they're going to work out. I might change those before the next block. Okay, so the next one. What do I do to start solving this problem? 6 times 5. And, believe it or not, I got a remainder of 2. Did you write that down?
We add a 0, we're going to get 20, and then there's another thing, and then we're going to get 2.
So this one is doing the same thing again. Let's see what it's doing though, Sadie. Let everybody work through it. 6 times 3, what is that?
18.
So we've got the same problem again. It's going to be 2's forever and ever. Do we have enough information to figure out which one is larger?
Yes.
We do. Which one's larger?
5 and 3.
5.3. 5 3/10. Okay? That's it. Now, on the test, I really feel like you'll end up with a 0 down here. 0 remainder. Okay? All right, let's do the next one. This one's really fun, too. Okay, now I can tell right away I'm going to have to do length times width equals area because I see that word.
Area.
Okay? So, after this one, we're going to take a short break so you can maybe start thinking again, because I feel like I'm losing some of you.
Well, I
Focus one more time.
see meters and length.
Okay.
And width.
Oh, and width. Okay, so that tells you area also. So tell me the formula for area.
Length times width times area.
Equals area.
Equals area.
Okay, write that down. You're going to get a point for writing that down. So you might as well get that figured out. Okay, it says a rectangular playground has an area of 4,582 square meters. If the width of the rectangle is 29 meters, what is the length? So here's what we label. And yes, you're going to get a point for labeling this.
What if you forget to label it?
Then you'll miss one.
Does it count it wrong?
Yes. You need to eat something. Shh. Okay, so now, what do I do here? I take these numbers, and what do I do with them?
You put them in there.
You put them in. It's called plugging them in. I don't know why we call that.
Plug it in.
Yeah, plug the numbers in. So get the numbers on there. That's what we know. You're going to get a point for doing that too. So right now you've got 3 points and you haven't even had to divide yet.
So a point for everything?
Okay, so now how do I solve this problem? What am I going to do, you really?
You divide 4,582 and 29.
Okay. What will I skip count by?
30.
30. Write that down. Guess what? You'll get a point for skip counting too.
3, 6, 9.
Remember, I'm recording, okay? Yes?
Do I get point for writing Mrs. Lewis as the best one back?
No. That's called brown nosing. Okay, where would you chunk this problem? Yep. So how many groups of 29 can I make? 1. 2 would be close to 60, right? Be 58, I think. So where do you write your 1? You need to stay with me here.
Top of the 5.
Okay. Regrouping. Okay, you go ahead and work that problem out. And then we'll check it together. Okay, let's take a look. So, if I bring the 8 down here, I'm going to try probably a 5.
Yeah.
Okay, so over to the side, what problem will I do?
29 times 5.
29 times 5. That works.
25 times 50.
Okay. Now I'm going to bring down my 2. When I did this in block 1, I tried a 7, and it wasn't big enough. So let's try an 8. 29 times what?
8.
Just a minute, don't tell me what it equals. I want to do it. Did you? Okay. What'd you get? That's what I did to start with. But it's actually an 8 because 29 is 1 less than what we skip counted by. So my answer to what is the length equals what? 158 meters. Okay, give me a sentence. 5th grade sentence. The length of the huge playground? is what?
158
Okay, this is your test review. You've got to make sure and take this class time seriously. So if you're just writing part of the information, it's not going to help you when you practice. Okay, so I told you I'd give you a little break. Okay, let's take a look at this one. This problem goes together, so there are 5 parts, and each one depends on the previous part. So we're gonna take it slow. It says a baker uses 7.5 pounds of flour daily. How many ounces of flour will he use in 3 weeks? Use words, numbers, or pictures to explain your thinking. Okay, and it says 1 pound equals 16 ounces. That's good. We needed that information, didn't we? Okay, now what I'm going to do, because I want these numbers to be, no, we'll just keep it like this. So the first thing I have to do is convert what? Pounds to ounces. So I'm going to go with 7.5 pounds equals. Get that a little higher so you can see it. And remember when I do conversions, I do pounds, pounds, ounces, ounces. That's right. So 7.5 times 1 pound. And this is how many equal signs?
How can we do it in Spanish?
Okay, so the next one, I'm going to take 7.5 times what? 16 ounces. Then to figure out the answer to this, what do I have to do? Multiply. I'm going to have to use standard algorithm and look at it. It's got 2 partial products. So you should be writing this down. Did you get the same answer I did? Not yet? We'll get going. Okay, so I got 1,200, but then I remembered, oh yeah, it was 7.5. So I have to place my decimal for the tenths place. So the answer to how many ounces in 1 pound, do I need that 0 at the end? No. And this is how many ounces are in 1 pound. Okay? We're not done yet, so don't turn the page yet.
Is that true?
Well, I mean, in 7.5 pounds, there's 120 ounces. Sorry, I said that wrong. In 7.5 pounds, there's 120 ounces, and yes, it's true. There's 16 ounces in 1 pound. Okay, so now that we've done that, we got to figure out 3 weeks. That's just 1 day.
Then you just times it by 3.
You're close. How many days are in 3 weeks?
7.
So I'm going to do 120 ounces. Actually, 1 unit equals 120 ounces. 21 units equals, how would you solve that problem? Long division, we're multiplying. 21, I'm going to scoot that over because you can't see it very well. 21 times what?
7.
So I'm going to do 21 times 120. What's the easiest way to do that? my gosh, I keep writing the 1 first. 21 times 12 times 10. Okay, so 21 times 12. What's the best way to do that? Standard algorithm? I think so.
Yeah.
So 21 times 12. Two partial products again. Make sure you get that turtle head on there if it helps you. Do the math, please. Some of you are just watching me do it and then writing it down. Okay, so what's the answer to 21 times 12? 252 times 10. 2,520 ounces in 3 weeks. All right. So that number, 2,520, we need it for B. So write it down. 2,520 ounces. Okay, now that part was a little confusing because of converting to ounces, but the rest of it's going to seem a little easier, okay? So the baker's recipe for a loaf of bread calls for 14 ounces of flour, okay? If he uses all the flour to make loaves of bread, how many full loaves can he make in, here's your second mistake, 3 weeks? I forgot to change a word. Okay, I don't want you asking questions without raising your hand anymore, okay? Mostly because I'm doing a recording. All right, so each loaf that he makes, this is how much flour he has, okay? 2,520 ounces. And he's going to make how many loaves? 14. So each loaf that he makes takes 14 ounces. Oh, he's not going to make 14 loaves. Each loaf needs 14 ounces. So how do I solve this problem? Am I going to multiply those two numbers or divide? Divide. When I know my total up here, that means I'm going to divide. So 2,520, write it down. And we're going to divide by 14. Okay? What should we skip count by?
15.
Yep. And will you chunk this at 25 or 252? 25. Okay. So how many groups of 14 can I make out of 25? 1. What'd you get? 11? Okay, bring down the 2. Okay, so I have the number 112. I know that it would go in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. But I wonder if I should try 8 since 14 is 1 less than 15. What do you think? Let's try it. 14 times 8. What'd you get?
12.
So did 8 work? How many of you multiplied to figure out 8? How many of you? Raise your hand if you did that multiplication problem while I did it. Okay. So those of you who didn't, you need to stop that and start working them out. Okay, now what do I do here? I do, and now I can't divide again. So I just put a 0 where?
On top of the 0.
On top of the 0, on top of the number you brought down. So I have 180 loaves of bread. The baker can make 180 loaves of bread. That's a lot of bread. Okay. The baker sends all the bread to one store. Okay, you had some of these in 4th grade. I know you did, because you would get an answer and then you had to decide how many of those would fit in each box. Remember those questions? So we have 180 loaves of bread, correct? Okay. Because I know the test is different, let's just change that just for this one, and you're not going to change it on the test, okay? Well, what would happen if I had 186 loaves of bread? Okay? I'm going to ask you that in a minute. But don't worry about it yet. So, to figure this out, so I've got a box here, right? And each box can hold how many loaves of bread? 12. So technically, I could do this, right? And get 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's not even close to 12. You don't have to write that, okay? But each box has 12 loaves, and I've got 180. How many boxes do I need? 180. What? Do you think I'm going to have more than 180 boxes?
No.
No, so I have to divide. Now you don't have to skip count on this one because I already know the answer, so you have it memorized. So I'm going to chunk this where? At the 18. And one group of 12 goes into 18. 8 minus 2 is 6. Bring down my 0. 12 times what equals 60?
5.
Okay. So how many boxes do we need? 15 boxes. Now what if, just what if, it was remainder 6? What if I had 186 instead? Because I know this is going to happen on the test. You're going to have a remainder. Do I need another box for those extra 6 loaves?
No.
Yeah, I do. So if you end up getting a remainder on your test, you're going to have to up it by 1 box. See what I'm saying? Because you can just put some packing paper in there, right? For the rest of the space that doesn't fill up with bread. Okay, we're going to keep going. We're going to do these last 2 before you leave. So on the next one it says the baker pays 70 cents per pound of sugar. So sugar, how much does he pay? 70 cents. Write it down. And he pays $1.15 for butter. Write that down. Okay, let me read the rest of the problem. Write an expression that shows how much the baker will spend if he buys 5 pounds of butter and 25 pounds of sugar. So I have to take this amount times what? 25. Now what they did was they tried to mess you up. See how this says butter and sugar? Well, up here it says sugar and butter. So don't get fooled just because they're trying to mess you up. These are switched around, okay? So how many pounds of butter? 5, okay? So there's 25 pounds of sugar, 5 pounds of butter. All you have to do is write an expression. You don't even have to solve it. So here's what I'm going to do.
25 pounds of sugar?
I'm going to add sugar plus butter, right? Write that down. That's notes for you to remember, okay? Because some of you will probably study. You know you can go back and look at this video if you were too tired to listen to it during class today. Okay, now how do I plug all these numbers into this expression? What do I write for sugar?
70 times 25.
And it's not just 70, what is it?
70 tenths.
70 hundredths, 70 cents, or 7 tenths. Very good. And then 100, 1 and 15 hundredths times 5. That's it. That's how you solve it. Well, actually, you don't have to solve it. Cool. Okay? That's it. We make these things too hard sometimes. Okay, let's take a look at the last one. And even if I'm a little late letting you leave, is that okay? Because I want to get this one recorded.
Yeah.
Even if you don't understand it right now. Okay. It says chocolate sprinkles cost as much per pound as sugar. So how much did the sugar cost? Look up there and see.
70 cents.
70 cents. So I'm going to write that down. Okay? And it says, find 1/10 the baker's total cost for 100 pounds of chocolate sprinkles. Explain the number of zeros and the placement of the decimal in your answer using a place value chart. I know, the answer is purple because aliens don't wear hats. Okay? I'm going to show you how to do it.
100 pounds of
So here's what we have to do. We have to take 70 times 100. Let's do that first. Okay? So on my place value chart, how many place values will it move if I multiply times 100? 2. So the 7 goes 1, 2, right? So what do I end up with?
70.
I end up with 70. Okay? Write that down. Now I have to find 1/10 of 70. Now remember, 1/10 is like 1 divided by 10. So all I have to do is 70 divided by what? 10. So I'm going to get 70 on here. And I'm going to divide it by 10. And when I divide, which way do I go?
Right.
To the right. So my 7 goes here. And I guess my 0 could go there, couldn't it?
Yeah, but that's a waste of pencil.
It really is. So the answer to how much money it will cost for chocolate sprinkles, $7.
$7 for 100 pounds?
Yeah, but only 1/10 of the cost. So I think it would cost 70 altogether, okay? All right, now,